in. Oh, come on. Okay. It's still not great, is it? I want to move this. Oh, there we go. That's a bit too far. Okay. I think I'm ready, guys. How have you been? Have you had a good Christmas period? Mine was good. It was good. My sister and her husband are good. What's the word? Hosts. So we did have a lovely time at their place. I was stressed the whole time and just wanted to get home, but that's okay. That was my issue. There was a lot of sadness around our Christmas issues, so that was a bit hard. Not really anything I can talk about, but it was a bit hard. But I hope you've all had a good time, a good Christmas, whether you celebrate Christmas or do something else. I've been working on some needlebooks still. I think I need to make them a bit bigger. They seem to be getting a bit smaller as I'm going along, not deliberately. I don't know how it's happened, but they've gotten a bit smaller. So I have shown this one before. I had a white medallion I was going to put on, but I found this vintage piece of lace. Thought I might put that one on instead. It just seems to fit a bit better. So as you can see, I haven't really done much more to that one. I finished the running stitch on the bark cloth one. I've been working on it. I don't know, I'll just say too, I'm not sure how long this video will go because there's a storm rolling in, or it may have just gone over. I think we had 3 raindrops and it's stopped. There's thunder rumbling. I didn't check the forecast. I did check it this morning. It said we were due to get rain this afternoon. It's awfully hot and humid here. So whether we're going to get that rain or not, I don't know. But back to this, I've been working on the bark cloth needlebook. I'm not sure how I want to do the edge. I'm leaning towards just blanket stitch on this one around it. It will have the lace pocket on the inside here. I don't think I'll put a pocket on this back page simply because I've done this folded over edge. So there's that one as well that I've been working on. And I've done this one too. That was the right way. So I've done this one. You might have seen this last week when I found this piece of fabric. I've done the same linen, but this one I've folded the edges in all around. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do this edge. I might just ladder stitch because I don't want to blanket stitch this part of the pocket that I've done. So that one will go like that. It does need some kind of border though, especially on the front. So even if I blanket stitch around that but not go through the lining, because I don't want to see that blanket stitch on the inside. So yeah, I've been working on that one too. I've also been working on this one. This one's going to be much larger unless I trim it back. I might trim it back a little bit because that's very big compared to these guys. So yeah, I've been working on that one. I'm still thinking I'll convert these into needle books as well. Not sure what will be the front and the back. I quite like that for the front, I think, on that one. But now I'm starting to think I might want to do some running stitch over these, or some more running stitch. This one just had a bit up the top here for texture to sort of fill in that light area. So yeah, I'm not sure. Still playing with those. And of course I've been working on this piece. I don't think I've done any more of this since you've last seen it. And obviously that will be trimmed right back when I get to that. And I've started, well, I've put this piece together to stitch as well. And again, that's another larger one. I thought that had puckered, but it's just been folded. So that one will be trimmed back a little bit just to neaten up these edges. And apart from that, I think that's pretty much all I've done over the break. I haven't been well. I don't know what's going on. I just feel off, and I've had ridiculously itchy eyes for about 4 or 5 days now. I've tried what are they called, things for allergies. I've had drops in my eyes. I've just about scratched my eyes out of my head. They've been driving me bananas. So I don't know what's going on there. And with my eyes the way they are, I haven't been feeling great at all. I can't find that thread I was using. Let's have a look. I've got more needle books in here I've started to put together too. I have been working on some hexagons. I started piecing together like a grandma's garden that I can then cut up like a cutter quilt to make the things, but I don't like how I've done it. I started putting this together. I don't know if you can see that, I'm running out of room. That needs to go in my vintage puff jar. So I've started doing this, but then I realised that the grandma's garden has the centre, and most of you will know this already, but if you don't know, then it has a ring of colour, And then this ring should be colour, a different colour, and then the white ring. And I didn't realise that until I'd done this much. And I don't like it. I don't like all that white. It doesn't look right. But I don't think I have enough colour to do the rings, the double ring. And after all that work I've done, I didn't want to undo that. I'm going to have to though, because I don't have enough colour. And the other thing I've noticed is, I think I did it on this one, whoever has done these original hexagons, they're not very tight. So when I've gone to stitch them together, you can see here, this is a good example. There's a big gap here, and this happened quite a bit, so it's not sitting overly flat. So I think, see, look, there's a funny pucker there, and that's because none of these were tight, so none of the edges are the same length when they should be, because the papers underneath are all the same size. So I think what I'm going to have to do is undo them all the ones that I haven't pieced together. I've done the white ones. I haven't done these coloured ones. So all the ones, these ones I haven't done either. All the ones that are, I think I did put one of these together. Maybe not. Yeah, I've done that one. That's one of mine. So all of these other ones, you can see, look, there's puckers everywhere. They haven't been done tightly enough, so even this tacking, it's just to see how loose it is, which means that when I go to sew them together, they're not sitting square, and the more you add on, the more buckled it becomes. So I'm going to have to unpick all of these and tighten up these. They look okay, and individually they look okay, but when you start sewing them up, you really notice it. So too many of these are the big gaps like this. See how that's not sitting, they're not butting up against each other. So I could sew them together still, but then they start to, they won't sit flat. And that's bugging me a bit. So, in saying that, I have ordered some more of this fabric, even though I bought this lot at the second-hand store. And this white was, I don't know if you remember, a few weeks ago I found a cot quilt with a beautiful lace edge on it. And I think she only charged me 50 cents for it. And I removed the lace from it. It was like a broderie anglaise. And I was nearly going to throw out the cotton. I mean, I wouldn't have thrown it out because I don't throw anything out. I recycle it somehow. I was going to pass it on. I've ended up, I thought of using it for these white hexagons in this quilt. So that's what I've done, but I have ordered more of these same fabrics. I do have some that I'd already bought, which was just a complete coincidence because I had the fabrics before I found the hexagons. I have ordered another pack of fat quarters. But I get a bit funny, I don't know about you, unless I know, okay, I'm going to make that exact quilt, or I'm going to make that exact project. I don't like to cut my fabrics, and I'll carry them around for years before I make a decision, which is ridiculous, really. I buy fabrics sometimes just because I love them, like these two, and these petite pan ones. So I didn't really have, and I still don't have a plan for them, but I really loved them, so they had to come home. And then I just pet them for way too long. So after all that, I had gone looking for this pink to do this needle book. And the plan at the moment is I think I'm going to do a blanket stitch around there. Again, big no-no, you shouldn't leave your needle in your work like I just have. For several reasons, including the fact that it can go rusty. It will leave holes in your fabric and distort your fabric. Now, I've had a bit of overkill on the tacking of this, as you can see. There's a lot of tacking stitches in this piece. And that was to make sure I held it all together. So when I start the blanket stitch, I usually do sort of try and do a bit of a hold-in stitch in the lining here. I try and do it in the spine because it makes it a bit less visible for your start. And then, and I'm not going in the direction I thought I was. I have forgotten something, I think. I don't think I picked that up. I want to draw a line to follow so it's neat. Of course I didn't bring the ruler out. And I've taken my quilting rule inside because I've been using it. And of course I don't have anything with me that I can use as a rule. Oh, that's a bit frustrating. My pen is in here, so why is my pen and not here and my ruler not? What a silly person. I don't want to duck inside because I'll need to, I will have to unplug the phone. And I don't want to have to do that. Maybe. Someone told me the other day there's a pause button here now, but I can't see one. What's that? I don't know what that... Oh, okay, it wants to do a highlight. I don't want to highlight. I just want to pause. So, mustn't be able to pause alive. I thought someone said the other day that you can now. All I want is a rule. Maybe I can use this tray. That might work. This beautiful tray that I got as a gift. It's Cloisonne, is it Cloisonne or Cloisonne? Cloisonne? I can't even say it. Need to put my spectacles back on. It's getting darker. It's okay. There's a truck pulling up next door. It went down the road and turned around and came back. I'm doing a bit of guesswork here because I'm not measuring. Sounds like he's putting crab traps out in the lake. I don't think I need to rule there because I'm not going to do that. So you know what I've realised? I've started that here. Because I don't want to stitch that edge, I should have started it in here. So I might undo that. Yeah, they must be putting out crab traps because they're worried about the southwester and putting some on the western side of the lake. So I'm assuming they mean crab traps. I'm just wondering how to do this edge. I should have left some length, tucked it under and done a ladder stitch, but I haven't done that, so I'll need to work something else out. But for now, I'll come in and do this, put an anchor stitch in here to start with. I'm standing up, so I think I'm cutting out your light, I'm sorry. Doesn't help that the cloud's coming over. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm not speaking very loudly today, am I? Got a bit of a sore throat actually. Okay, I'll sit down to do this. I had my mum's car over Christmas, so I could get to my sister's and drop my dog off and cart all the gifts over and whatnot. And I took the car back this morning, and up the road there was, well, the first thing was I had to wait at the end of my street for all the traffic going past, which is quite unusual. You don't usually have to wait for a line of traffic to get out of here. It's usually fairly quiet. You might have to wait for one car or two, but there were about 5. And I did think to myself, oh goodness, that's unusual. Must be rush hour or something. But when I got up the road a little bit further, there were, I think, 4 police cars and a white van. There were 2 paddy wagons. I don't know what the other 2 cars were because they weren't general duty. They must have been more senior officers or something. And the white van, I thought to myself, looked like the coroner. And then I thought, oh, surely not. But all the cars that were going past were getting to that point, and because this house was right near, so the house was here, I suppose, and then there's a bit of a park, and then there's an intersection, so the cars were all driving up, slowing down at that house where all the police were, and then chucking a Yui at the intersection and going back again. So that grabbed my attention, you know, why were they coming up to have a look and turn around? But anyway, I kept driving and thought, oh, you know, I just hope everything's okay as you do. And when I came back, there was only one paddy wagon and the white van still there, but the house had been all taped off with police tape. It was all surrounded with tape. And I thought, oh, that's not good. But mind you, the same house had had the same thing happen a couple of months ago. So anyway, I didn't give it much more thought. And then when my mum came back this afternoon to drop off some milk, she told me that the tape had been taken down, the car, the paddy wagon was gone, and the van was still there, and they were actually loading a body into the van. So that was very sad. I was hoping it would have not been anything so serious. And then I thought maybe because I'd seen those same vehicles there a couple of months ago, maybe an elderly person had passed a few months ago and their partner had died yesterday or recently of a broken heart. It does happen. I know it happened up the road a few years ago. It's very sad. I just hope that it was that the person just died of natural causes and it was nothing, not that that makes it any easier or better. As I said, there's been some very sad things happening lately around here, around with people I know, with friends and family. So I have struggled to enjoy Christmas, but anyway, I need to try and focus more on the positives, which is difficult, not just because it's a difficult thing to do, but because some people in my life think that I'm cold-hearted and cruel because I try and focus on the positive things instead, but I have to do that, or I just go down into a rabbit hole. And stitching, doing things like this is one thing that helps me do something positive and focus on the good things, you know. I've got so many ideas of things I'd like to share this year too. There's quite a few things too that I can't share yet, not until September. Goodness, it feels forever away. I can probably share this much. I have been chosen as an ambassador for a company, which I find incredibly exciting. I've tried really hard not to get too excited about it because I had been chosen to be an ambassador for Ferris Wheel Press. I was over the moon about that. They sent me my first package. I did my first lot of videos for them, did all the social media. I was so excited because I love their products. And then my second package didn't arrive. And I contacted them and said, you know, it hasn't arrived yet and there's something wrong. Has it gone missing? They said, no, it's on its way. This went on for months. They kept telling me it was on its way. They hadn't sent it yet. It was on its way. And then I finally got an email saying that they're not doing that program anymore. And I took that personally at first, thought I'd done something wrong, but they assured me that they're just not doing their programs like that anymore. They were launching a new program, and they promised me that they would be in contact because they wanted me to continue with them, and I haven't heard from them since. So yes, I've been trying very hard to not get too excited about this. I have been sent the products from this next company. I'm not to share yet. I have to record all my content and send it in to them, and my month is September next year. I have to have all my content submitted by June of next year. So I have a lot of ideas. I want to do things that are quite different to what other ambassadors have done. So I've been working on that. But every now and then I think, oh, I'll share this with you guys, and I can't. I can't yet. But hopefully, I mean not hopefully, that is something to look forward to. Listen to those cicadas that have started up. It doesn't look like we're going to get that storm after all. I'm just going to have a drink. I'm very thirsty. I just have some sugar-free cordial that I'm drinking today. I've been struggling with water the last couple of days because I don't have room to chill it, and it's so warm. So I've got tropical flavoured sugar-free cordial, and I've got it in a it's in a whiskey bottle, only because the whiskey bottle is plastic. It's 1.1 litres, so I can measure how much I'm drinking, keep a record, make sure I'm drinking enough. And the reason I'm using the whiskey bottle is A, because it's plastic, B, because it's measurable, it's large, I don't have to refill it several times a day. Well, I do, but not as often as I would the smaller, the 300ml bottle I was using. And what was the other reason I was going to say? I've got a really good, recently bought a really good drink bottle, and I don't want to put cordial in it, I want to keep it as just water. So I went looking for something I could mix the cordial in and use at home, and decided that the empty plastic whiskey bottle was the way to go. So if you see me walking around with a bloody whiskey bottle, it's got cordial in it. These stitches, they feel like they're getting longer as I'm going along. This depth here is getting longer. The benefit of doing the blanket stitch like this is that I can do a fancy, sometimes I do that stitch and then come back in here and I can do some fancy stitches in the top of each stitch before I move on. Or I can come back later and do a crocheted edge around it, which is what I might do with this one to finish it off. Even if I just do a crab stitch, which is like a backwards crochet. I think it's the same stitch. I haven't actually looked it up, but it sounds like the crab stitch and the backward crochet might be the same stitch. I'd like to take a moment too, while I remember, to thank those of you who've purchased things from me this year. I am incredibly, incredibly grateful. Honestly, you've got no idea how helpful it has been. Your purchases have helped me pay bills that I was panicking that were not going to be paid, to the point where I thought I would have to leave my home because I couldn't pay the bills. Your purchases have helped me put food on the table. They've helped me pay vet bills for my dog, and they've helped me pay for medication for us both. So, and more recently, I was actually able to buy my nephews something for Christmas, which I haven't been able to do the last couple of years. You know, everyone says they don't mind, but I do. I'd like to be able to give them something. They always give me something. And my niece, of course. So I'm incredibly, incredibly grateful to those of you who have purchased items from me. Honestly, don't know how to express how grateful I am. Honestly, I'm incredibly grateful. Very, very grateful. I had dreams of buying a new phone and a few things for recording, you know, a new light ring that would hold the phone, and a stand and a few other things, but I've had other priorities, unfortunately. I am hoping this year I might be able to get myself a car, but I should speak positively, shouldn't I? I want to say but. I'm not going to. I'm in two minds about what kind of car to get though. I thought initially I would get a small car, a Toyota, because I know Toyotas, they're easy to care for. Not a new car, of course. I'd be looking at something maybe 8 to 10 years old. The newer the better, of course, but that's not within my budget. Although in previous years, every single car I've bought, I have gotten for less than half of the asking price. So I'm sure I can do that again. So yeah, my first choice is a small Toyota, like an Echo or a... What are the newer versions of Echoes called? Oh, I can't remember. Like just a little hatch. So that was my first choice, but the more I think about it, I'm starting to think I might like to buy a van so I can travel with my dog. So we can just hop in and go away for the weekend, or I can drive down, you know, drive the 1800 plus kilometres to visit my daughter and her fiance, instead of, well, now that the airlines don't allow a dog of Willow's size to travel, they did until recently. I think I'm better off to drive down. I'm certainly not going to be leaving her behind. So yeah, still haven't decided. I haven't really started looking yet, because once I start looking and I find something that I think's perfect, I'm then disappointed when I don't have the money to buy it. So I haven't started looking yet. I'm just going to keep, I don't know, manifesting one, I suppose. Now I'm going to have to end this off because I'm running out of thread, and I hate doing this simply because I want to do it so you can't see where I've ended it off, and that can become a little bit tricky. So I've sort of just done a knot there. Then I will bring this tail in, tuck it in between the fabric here, making sure it's not exposed on the back. I'll pull this through. Don't pull it too hard, but we want to try and tuck all that in. Now I'm going to cut this tail off so we can't see it. And then the next bit's a bit tricky too. Now this isn't perfect, you know, you might know a better technique. This is just something I've worked out that works for me. Okay, now I'm going to come back in here and do another holding stitch on the inside here. It doesn't matter if it's a bit far away from where we've finished off. I'm just catching that lining because I don't want this holding stitch to be visible anywhere. Okay, now here's where it gets a little bit tricky. I want to come up sort of in the middle of that, and it might not work because it's a bit tight. I wanted to come up in the middle of that knot, that finishing off knot that I made. It's not going to let me, so I'm going to try and go just behind it. Okay, and now I should be able to continue with my blanket stitch. And there we go. If you look hard enough you can see it, but if you didn't know it was there, I don't think it would be that easy to pick. The wind's starting to pick up again. It's a very warm breeze today. Still a warm breeze. I guess some breeze is better than no breeze. Now I'm trying not to catch that tacking stitch because I want that to come out. I didn't realise that it had gone up at an angle, but what I want to do is catch that lace. I want to try and catch that lace because I want it to be held down. I don't want it coming loose. Oh, can you hear that wind now? It's really picked up. You might get a storm yet. I've got a new wind chime here that my son and his girlfriend gave me for Christmas, and it's so pretty, and I'm very hesitant to leave it out here because it's agate, and it's coloured agate. I don't want it to fade in the sun, and I don't want it to break if it gets too windy. I also got this guy from them. Have a look at this. I think I'll call him Nomeo. So he's sitting at the front door here and helping me with my stitching. Oh, I just realised I'm sitting right on the edge of my stool, so my toes have gone to sleep. I was leaning on them. Okay, now I'm checking the other side to see where I'm at with that tacking stitch and trying to make sure I'm catching that lace as well. Oh, here comes the wind again, and my fabrics nearly blew away then. Checking the lace. There we go. Thought the storm had passed, but obviously not. We need some rain. It's really dry again, and it's dried out very quickly. Everything was so lush and green about a week ago, and in that time everything's brown and crispy and crinkly and crunchy. I'm struggling to keep my plants alive, as I'm sure a lot of other people are in the area. But we are still getting rain occasionally. Where my daughter lives, they haven't had any, and they've had terrible bushfires, and they were placed on an evacuation warning on Christmas Day. See that? There's a tail from that holding stitch I put in, and I want to tuck it down so we don't see it. What I'm noticing too, as I'm doing this stitch, again checking the lace and the tacking stitches, this side, this working side, as I'm pulling it in, you've probably noticed it's pulling on this edge here, so it's fraying the fabric, and I don't want that to happen. So now I'm trying to lift it off to lessen the chance of that happening. There's a frayed bit that maybe we can tuck that in. Get down there. No, that's just pulling more away. Okay. Now that tail's worked its way out again. Get in there, you rotter. Get in there. There we go. Now, the thread's starting to tangle a bit, so I need to twist it towards me a bit to unwind it, or hold it out and drop the needle and let it untwist a bit naturally. Oh, sorry. Just whacked the phone, the holder. Okay. And it's okay if I stitch through these running stitches because they're all staying there. But I don't want to catch the tacking stitches. Happened here. That's the third stitch I've done since I've untangled it, and it's wrapped itself up already. Oh, goodness me. Part of it is because each stitch I do, I'm subconsciously twisting the needle. And another part of it is the energy of the thread, the way it's been plied or mercerized. Goodness. I was just thought I was pushing that through that lace then. I was actually pushing it through my finger instead. Now that's a bit close to that. Oh, hang on. The wind just blew my hair into my mouth. I don't like hair in my mouth. That holding stitch is too close to where I want to stitch, so I need to get it out of there. I thought that would just pull out, but it mustn't be the same. Oh, what's going on here? can't get it out. Ah, there's that bit. Where's the other end? Over there. Okay. That was not the same thread that I cut. And I think I just cut a bit of bloody lace off I didn't want to cut off too. Okay, where were we? Cut it out of the way. What have we got on the back here? Let's try and catch that. Oh, it doesn't want to go through. Jeez, we've gone a bit wonky there. If you can hear my screen door every now and then, it's Willow. She's got her feet, she's right at the door, right beside me. And every now and then she reaches out to me and scratches the screen with her claws. Liking this, the way I'm sitting. I'm leaning right in so I can see what I'm doing, but in doing so I'm resting on my toes and they're not enjoying it. There's a kookaburra. I haven't heard a kookaburra for a while, I don't think. Not that I've noticed anyway, and you don't tend to see them here as often as we used to. I'll tell you what, on the way home, I forgot to tell Mum about that. On the way home, on Christmas Day, I was bringing my dad home, and I came the back way that I don't often come anymore because it's a shit of a road. There's so many accidents on that road at Wakey. But I decided to come that way, and there was a echidna on the road, and I had to swerve to miss him, but there's nowhere I could pull over safely to shoo him off the road to make sure he didn't get squished. Because that part of the road, there's a cliff face here on that side. And on this side there's a barrier fence that drops away into the tailings dam, so it's for, I don't know, probably about 800 metres. There's nowhere you can pull over. Nowhere safe anyway, and it's on a blind corner, so you just don't stop there. But I did want to make sure the poor fellow didn't get squished. He did, as we drove around him, he did sort of scurry back under the railing, sort of a little bit. He wasn't too perturbed by us at all, to be honest. But I love echidnas. I'm sure they're my spirit animal. I've got an amazing video. I should upload it to YouTube because it's incredible of this. I've had quite a few encounters with echidnas. And this one particular fella, Willow got a new toy for Christmas. What you got, Papa? You got your dragon. She was just squishing it for us so you could hear it. Yeah, this one particular experience I had with this echidna. He too was on the side of the road going up into the Barringtons, and where he was, it's on a hillside or a cliff face really, but there were these green rolling hills as you drive in before you get to Dingo Gate, and there's all dairy cattle in there, and I'm pretty sure it's dairy cattle from memory. Might not be. Pretty sure it was dairy cattle. And he was just on the side of the road, so we pulled up and I got out and I just sort of sat on the ground about, I don't know, 3 meters away from him, and he started coming towards me. He could smell me, either smell me or feel me there. So I laid down and he came right up to me, and I've got it all on video, and it was the most amazing experience in my life. I laid there for about 45 minutes and he just came right up and he was sniffing around me and he was licking my face, and he was covered in ants, which I was telling Dad about. I said every time I've encountered them, you know they eat ants, but you don't expect them to be covered in ants when you see them. So yeah, it was one of the most incredible experiences I've ever had, and I didn't want to leave, but the other half at the time got impatient with me just laying there for so long. I think I could have just stayed there all day until the echidna had had enough, to be honest, but we left him be and went on our way, and it was just amazing. I've had quite a few experiences like that with them, but I think that was probably the best because A, it was the longest amount of time, B, he was just as curious, if not more curious than I was, and C, I'd got it all on video. Yeah, so I was quite concerned about this little fellow on the road the other day, and I've just been hoping I don't drive back there and find him, because I could not stop. And the fact that I was in that local brigade for many years and we were called to that many accidents, including my own and my son's on that same corner, I was not prepared to put ourselves in danger to rescue the poor little fellow. Hopefully he just went back under. In fact, I think it may have been a female. I'm not sure. I assumed that females would be bigger because it was a big character. It was a big echidna. One of the biggest I've seen, I think. Not overly talkative today, am I? I'm concentrating on this, I think. I really want to get some of these finished. And once again, I apologise if you're commenting while I'm stitching, but I can't see the screen again today. I don't have it set up correctly. I apologise. I don't know, the other day, not the last video I'd done, the one before, the comments that were made during the live showed up later when I shared the video. But then the last video I did, I'm pretty sure there was a comment or two made that I'd missed. And it just shows me that there's a comment there that's not there. I can't, when I go to open it, there's nothing there. So that's a bit weird. I don't know if it was a comment made during the live recording or whether it was a comment made afterwards and then someone decided to delete their comment. I don't know. Ugh. My face is getting itchy again. Okay, see this tail? See how it's all tangled up and it's starting to fray? Obviously that's fatigue, and look at that. That's going to be problematic if I keep stitching. It's just going to keep tangling. So I'm just going to snip that bit off. It should reduce the risk of this tangling further. It's still going to tangle because of that twist and the mercerization. But snipping that frayed tail off is going to reduce the likelihood of that happening. Oh, here comes the wind again. I was talking to my daughter the other day and she called me something that I hadn't heard of before, and I can't tell you what it was because I can't remember the word. And when I said to her, I don't know what you mean, I don't know what that is. Well, basically she was calling me a hippie, which I found a bit funny. I think when I got to the bottom of it, it was a compliment. Now what I do when I get to these corners, I don't know if you can see, I've just done 3 stitches going into that same hole so far. I try and get one of them right on the point of that corner, and then I come back underneath it and do a hold-in stitch to try and ensure that that stays in that corner. And then I go into that hole again for a 4th time. It's not always the same number of stitches, but this one just looks like it needs this many. Bring that down a bit. I'm just trying to fan it out. Go back in that hole again. Really, it that should have another stitch because that's not square yet. It might make it a bit bulky. Let's have another go. I haven't been watching this back side, so it's a little bit untidy in that corner. And there we go, that should be enough. And then we can continue down this side, making sure we're catching the lace. Oops. Oops, came out. According to Eckersley's the other day, if those of you who don't know, Eckersley's is an art supply store, like a big, there's a few stores countrywide, and they have, for the most part, they have very good quality art supplies. Well, I used to think it was very good. Some of them are very good. Some of them, when I was there the other day, were a bit questionable. I hadn't heard of them before, and I said to the shop assistant, I'm a bit hesitant to buy these brands I haven't heard of, and she said, oh well, that's not a bad thing, you know. And of course there's always brand loyalty, isn't there? But I bought my nephew a set of Winsor & Newton watercolour paints that had about, I think it was about 65% off. So it was a bit more than what I had budgeted for, but it was such a good buy, and I'm sure he would appreciate them. So I got him those. I just couldn't believe how much they were reduced by. And here's the wind again. Oops. Stitch is leaning over a little bit too much for my liking, so let's pick it up a bit. There we go, that's a bit better. I tell you what, it's difficult. I'm fairly satisfied with this side, but when I turn it over, it's not as tidy as I would expect, and trying to keep it tidy on both sides is a bit challenging. You know what I should have done? Maybe I should do that. I should have drawn the line down on this side as well to make sure they're matching up. That's what I should have done. I usually do this, I didn't even think of it. The other thing is with this, because there's the lace on this side, I've been trying to make sure I catch the lace, and sometimes it's a bit further down than where that line would be. But at least if I've got that line there now, I should be able to keep it a bit tidier. So let's have a look. Yeah. I'm really concentrating now, can you tell? You know what, I'm going to have another drink. I'm thirsty. I'll tell you what, I think I've mentioned this before. Back in June, I tore, among other things, I tore the ligament in my right elbow. And that's the second time I'd torn that. I'd torn it about 8 months prior to that. The first time I did it lifting a 200 kilo drum on my own. And then the second time I did it when I had a fall. But what are we? June, July, August, September, October, November, 6 months later, which I suppose isn't that long. But still hasn't healed properly. And I'm beginning to wonder if it is going to heal. Will that? Sometimes it's okay. Other times, like just when I lifted that bottle, which isn't a heavy bottle, it was very painful. So is that something? I mean, what I was going to say is, sorry, I'm tripping over my words. I'm wondering if it's ever going to heal properly, and if that picking things up from time to time is going to be incredibly painful. Sometimes it's okay, especially after I have hydrotherapy or physiotherapy. Sometimes the therapy really aggravates it and it's awfully painful. And other times I forget that it's happened because I don't notice it. But yeah, I just had that. I just had a big painful episode with it, just lifting that bottle of cordial. I'm running out of thread again already. I think it might be time to end this one off again. So let's do our holding stitch. And then thread this tail in here, tuck it in. Oh. Don't pull it too tight because we want to try and get back through that knot. Just trying to pull out some of these holding stitches that are going to get in the way. The others I might leave until I get a bit further along. Every now and then I get a whiff of my laundry and it smells really good. It might be yeah, I think it's the tea towel sitting beside me that I soaked yesterday. Oh, nearly lost it. I'm getting a whiff of a plant that I recognise, but I can't place it. Don't know what it is. It's a familiar smell. Okay, let's do a holding stitch. Oops, I'm going to knock the scissors off. I don't want to do that. Okay, now let's come back up where we ended off. If I can get in behind that knot. There we go. Now I have got, where did I put it? Oh, my feet. I cut a piece of wool. I'm not sure if I put it in this one because I've got another nice pink bit, but I cut this piece to go in here. I'll probably go this way actually. So I've got that piece. I'm just noticing some, that was one of my hairs, some hair in it. I don't like hair in the wool. Oh, gee, there's a few there. Oh, goodness me. I'd say some of these are willows, not that she's allowed anywhere near them, but there's that much of her hair flying around everywhere all the time. It's going to get where I don't want it. Goodness, there's lots in there. Oh. Surely they're not all hairs. Where did that one just come from? That wasn't there a minute ago. I think as I'm pulling them off, they're landing back on there. Crikey. Where are they coming from? I shouldn't have turned it over. Starting to go cross-eyed now, looking at this. How the heck have they all gotten on there? Most of her hair is white or grey, so this can't be hers. They look black to me. I wonder if it was on there when I bought it. Okay, so I've got that piece. I've got a lovely green piece as well. Not green, bloody pink, a pretty pink, but I've only got a small amount of the pink. So I don't know whether I'm going to use it in this one or not. I've got some doctor's flannel that can go in here. And I've picked a few doilies and napkins. I was going to put this in this one, but I'm not sure how to edge it. Maybe just this white blanket stitch around on here. Maybe I'll just do that around. It's a bit tricky because there's these open bits. But I quite like that. I could potentially do some embroidery in there. That could be cool. This is too big. Yep, definitely too big. I suppose they could... No, I don't like that. These bits aren't too bad, but these bits are too big. It makes it very chunky. I'm not convinced that's a winner. That could work. Got to work out a few different ways to put these things into. I don't necessarily want to do mirror pages all the way through, if that makes sense. Yeah, but anyway, I just need to, at this stage, keep stitching this. Don't know about you, but I find it very difficult to A, cut up pieces to put in these, and B, put some pieces in, full stop. Some pieces I fall in love with and I think I don't want to part with that. But that's the whole point, isn't it? I wouldn't make them using things that I wouldn't like to see in them myself. I've got no idea what time it is. I wonder if I can... Gee, 6:30. I wonder what time I started this. I didn't think it was that late. It must have been 5 o'clock. I was thinking it was about 3 o'clock when I started. I think that breeze is finally starting to cool down a little bit. It's not melting my skin off when it blows now. I'm starting to have trouble seeing in this poor light, so it might be nearly time to go. And I'm sure you guys are probably sick of watching me do this blanket stitch. I think I'll put in this one though, this is something else I just thought of. I think I'll do a Suffolk puff page. I don't want to use all my pinks, but I was thinking maybe maybe something like that. Or I could do, I've got heaps of green. I don't like that better actually. So all this time I've been thinking I needed to have 8 to do a page, but I think I could stitch these 4 together and just stitch them in as one page. That would work. And then I wouldn't be using as many puffs because I don't have many. That might work. So that's something else I think I'll pop in there. I suppose I could potentially even do one of those as a page, couldn't I? That could work too. I didn't think of that until just now. It's not the right coloured pink though. It's very candy pink this, isn't it? Have I got one in that other pink? Where's that? I could do this one. I don't have the other pink here done. So I've got this pink. I think that's still very candy pink compared to that. It's better though. I don't mind that. That might work. I had not thought of that until now. How about that? I guess I could stitch some doctor's flannel or something to the back of that to make it... Oh, now I'm on fire. Okay, there's an idea. They're all stitched together, so I should pull those papers out, I guess, if I'm going to do that. I'll press it first. Yeah, I think it's time to pack up because it's getting dark. That wind is becoming a bit relentless and I'm getting a bit tired, so I think I will finish here, guys, and thank you for joining me again. I hope you had a good Christmas period. What else can I say? I'm so tired, sorry. Thank you for joining me. We've been through that. I hope you have seen something here today that might inspire you or motivate you to have a go yourself. Otherwise, I look forward to meeting you here again soon. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please do so because that will help me get more videos out there. And until next time, be safe and happy stitching. Thank you again.